guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, my name is LJ and you're watching NoClutch Garage. And today we're going to be looking at a modification that I'm going to be doing to my car pretty soon. We're just going to do the unboxing right now, and we'll talk a little bit about what it is and why I need it. This is a package from Vader Solutions that thanks to Omar for sending me this. We're going to be looking at it. It's a modification that's actually related to the PCV system in the BMW B58 motor, and more specifically the Gen 1 B58. But we're going to be looking at it. I think this is an important upgrade or slash modification, especially for high horsepower cars. My car, as you know, like, it has a built motor, and there's a little bit of blow by, and when it comes to high horsepower cars, you want to relieve as much of that crankcase pressure as you want. We're going to get into a little bit more detail of that, but right now we're going to open up this box and we're going to look at what this kit consists of. So let's go ahead and dig into it. All right, so pull this out. So we have two lines right here. This one is going to go to the crankcase ventilation part that we already have on our valve cover. Here we have another AN fitting. We have some stickers. So this is the other part, and the most interesting part, I think. This is what's gonna go on the actual PCV side of things. All right, so this is what comes with the kit. These are two lines. This one's gonna go on the crankcase ventilation breather that we already have in there. This, I assume, will go in that opening and then tie into there. This side will go right here, and obviously we're gonna have to take off the cap that's at the PCV diaphragm in order to fit this in there. And I will show you guys how everything works on my motor. But for now, this is the complete kit by Vader Solutions. So let's talk a little bit about why this is a significant mod and why I need it for my car, why I recommend it for anybody that's gonna go high horsepower on the B58. Hey guys, welcome back. And right now we're at EuroMpire. Again, everybody's working right now, but basically we have my car up on the lift because there were a few things wrong with it that we need to address. But the biggest thing was that I had an oil issue, and that is why the whole bottom of my car is covered in oil everywhere. But right now we have Brian over here who's going to be changing out the bushing on my transfer case mount, and he also already fixed one of my turbo return lines, or my turbo return line, which was causing a leak because it was broken. And then there's one more thing to do at the top, and I think that's going to be it for that issue. However, I do have another issue where I was leaking oil through the exhaust manifold and just creating a bunch of smoke. And at one point I thought it was my piston rings, which would have been terrible considering I just got my motor built. But it turned out that it wasn't the piston rings. We actually looked at the motor for a while yesterday, and we found out that it's actually the PCV system that was messed up. Right now I have a line running out from the crankcase ventilation exit, which is running down to the bottom of the car, and it's pretty much VTA at this point. But it turns out that the diaphragm that's on top of the valve cover was actually damaged and was causing all the oil that's supposed to be recirculated to actually dump onto the cylinders and on top of the pistons, and that's why I was having all that oil coming out of the exhaust manifold and actually smoking things up. And I was losing about 2 quarts of oil a day, which is not normal at all. So on top of the leaks that I already had that I knew were an issue that I was going to address, I was having that happening on top of that, which was just exacerbating the whole issue. I brought the car in last week just to add some more oil, and we decided to just leave it here to go ahead and address everything. So we're gonna go ahead and fix that today, but it's actually a perfect segue because today we're actually gonna be talking about the Vader Solution breather kit. I gotta show you the top of the engine to kind of show you how that works. So let's go ahead and do that. But before I move over to that, I want you to go ahead and click a like and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. and let's go ahead and look at that. Alright, so what we're looking at right now is actually, of course, the top of the valve cover. If you look right here, this is actually part of the PCV system. There is a diaphragm that goes there that is being pushed up by this guy in the spring. So this is going to be helping separate the oil from going into the cylinders. So what we found out is we were trying to figure out where this oil was coming from, and we were going to take a look at the PCV system and how everything worked. So we decided to take this out because I remembered that we have the diaphragm right there. And when we were checking it, we actually discovered a rip on the diaphragm, which essentially confirming that the oil is actually indeed just passing by and going straight into the cylinder. What we discovered on the boroscope is that the top of the piston was covered in oil, but the cylinder walls weren't. So we know the rings are doing their job. However, the oil was leaking in and it was going straight into the exhaust valves, and that's why I was getting all the smoke and all the oil leakage. The PCV system in this car is a little bit complicated, but there is a really good resource out there, and actually I'll link it right there right now. My buddy Kevin actually made a really good video explaining this whole PCV system and how it works. But essentially what I'm going to do now is, instead of replacing the diaphragm, I do have a breather kit, and this is why I said it was perfect. I do have a breather kit from Vader Solutions that is actually gonna resolve this issue altogether. The breather kit looks like this, right? It's just a cap, and it's got an AN fitting or a banjo fitting, and then there's gonna be like a line, sort of like how I have this set up right here, and it's gonna be leaving the motor. So we're gonna replace that, and it's all gonna dump into a catch can that I am having made. It's just not here yet, but in any other use it would be VTA. So we can have it dump out the bottom. That way we can keep the oil from going back into the motor, or in my case back on top of the pistons, and then creating all the issues that we were having. That's what we're gonna do. I will leave the link in the description down below for this kit, and also the link to Kevin's video will be there, and his video explains everything about the PCV system. I just don't really want to get into all that when all I really want to show you guys is the installation, and just give you a very quick and brief overview of the PCV system. The kit does not use the diaphragm anymore, so we can actually discard this, and I will show you guys once again how to remove this, because you do have to kind of pry it out, and then once you pry it out you take all of these parts off, and yeah, we'll get into that shortly. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys step by step how to take this out. Basically what you want to do is you want to get yourself one of these pry tools or anything that can pry, and you're going to go underneath and pry up. And it's not as easy as this looked. This had been opened already, so just give you a heads up. But when you open it up, you'll see this cap, the diaphragm, and as you can see, this one was ripped. So we're taking that out completely. And then you have this little plastic piece that pushes the diaphragm up, and then you have the spring. So all of this is going to come out, and as you can see, it's kind of empty in there, but it's built into the valve cover, so unfortunately we can't really do an external solution. However, Vader Solutions made this cap, and the way to install it, you can choose to leave this banjo on there or not, but you're basically going to place it like so, and then just you can either get a rubber mallet and push it in, or you can just gently and slowly push it in. So I'm going to go ahead and mallet in. There you go. So then we have this little bag that has a few things in it. We're going to have this adapter that's going to go on the crankcase breather, and we'll put that to the side for now. And then there are these two little set screws. The set screws are actually in standard sizes, and this is going to be 3/32, and then we're just going to place them in here, And if you were smart, unlike me, you would probably put these in before you put the cap on. And then we do the rear. The rear's a little bit tricky, and like I said, probably should have done this before you put the cap in. Alright, now that they're in, you just kind of tighten it. Don't over tighten, you don't want to break anything. Alright, so now that that's in place, we have our lines right here, right? This one's going to go to the breather, and this one's going to go to the top right there. So we're going to go ahead and install this one. Alright, so these, if you want to tighten them, these are size 26s. I don't want to tighten them too much. And I'm going to leave this line like that for now so I can move around. The next part that we're going to be working on is this part that goes right here at the breather. So I showed you guys this little adapter. But before you put it in, you want to put some like oil or lubricate it a little bit. You can attach it here first and then stick it into the breather port. Here, so I'm going to show you guys. Just gonna put it in there. Alright guys, and then of course once you have this on, just slide it in just like that. And then there you have the lines, and then you can route the lines however you want, and I'll show you how I'm gonna be routing mine. Alright, so I decided not to do it that way because the exhaust is probably going to get too hot and melt these lines. So we actually turned the lines around and we're going to route them down this way. This is just an extra line that I have to remove. We ran that through the back of the engine, and then this one's probably going to go through the back too, or across, it doesn't matter. I'll figure all that out. But that's probably the ideal place, and then dump at the bottom until I can get the catch can installed, and then I can probably cut the lines and route them straight into a catch can. Alright guys, and remember before you close it up, make sure you tighten this bolt right here in the right position. Don't over tighten, just tighten it enough. Don't want to damage anything. And there you go. You're done with the kit. Hey guys, so now it's been a few days since I installed the breather, and so far my car is working great. I haven't seen a loss in oil consumption like I was seeing before, and that's probably partially due to a few things that we fixed. Everything looks dry where, you know, I had all my oil issues and stuff. So in that regard, that's looking great. Now, there is one issue, and I wouldn't really call it an issue, but it is something that was bothering me a little bit. Basically on the breather cap that we installed, I saw that after driving for a little bit, there was a little bit of smoke coming out. Obviously it's the condensation and the oil vapors that are coming out. But however, it kind of concerned me. It's not supposed to be doing that, and so I reached out to Omar, and he simply told me that it's normal for a car like mine. And what I mean by that is I have a built motor, guys. So the built motor on its own is not gonna change anything if you don't put power behind it, right? But I am pushing quite a bit of power on this car. I don't know exactly yet because I haven't dynoed, but I have a pretty good idea of just how much. And so there is gonna be a little bit more pressure in the engine from, obviously, from pushing more power. So yeah, I did see that some smoke was coming out. So I came up with a solution. Actually, we came up with a solution. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you what to do if that does happen with you. It shouldn't happen on a normal car that's, you know, tuned and not really a built motor. So you shouldn't have that issue if you don't have a built motor. But anyway, I'm gonna show you anyway, just so that, you know, if you don't feel like dealing with this at all, you can do it. But also just to show you, in case you do come across this issue, how to fix it. It's not really a design flaw, but it's just something that I figured it was gonna happen, and then it did happen, and now we're just gonna patch it up a little bit. So let's go ahead and look at what I'm doing. So what we really want to clean is going to be this outer edge, and I'll show you why. Alright guys, so after you have ensured that you have everything clean, I would also clean this up here just to make sure that it's very clean. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a gasket. This is ultra black, and make sure you get the black one. It's oil resistant, so this won't be an issue, you know, if you use this in this area, because the oil's not going to do anything to it. And that part is very important, because you don't want to use a gasket maker that's going to basically disintegrate when oil touches it. So once you have cleaned everything, you're going to create a gasket on the outside around here. So I'm going to show you. Squeeze this stuff out. Don't squeeze it too much because it'll come out too much and you won't be able to control it. So once it starts coming out, just a layer. Alright, and that seems to be a little bit too thin of a layer, so I'm going to go over it again. Alright, now if you can, I would go ahead and clean it up a bit. If you left a mess, clean off the excess. If your motor is hot, kind of like mine, you're going to have to put this on and then leave it on there for a while until it cools down, because you definitely don't want to drive it while this is still curing, because you want it to be solid. You don't want any of the pressure to leave. Obviously, that's why we're doing this, to seal it up. Alright, now that you have your gasket pretty much made, we're gonna go ahead and reinstall it. And I said in the previous video, my reasoning for installing it this way is because my line, when I get my catch can, it's going to be over here. Now you can choose to move this, and actually I would recommend that you rotate this cap so that you can reach both sides, both of these screws easily. Alright guys, so there it is. I have replaced it, and the gasket should form pretty soon. It takes a little while, so I'm not going to drive it for a few hours. I'm going to let the engine cool down and everything, and in a few more days I will report back and see if the smoking went away. That's literally my only issue at this point, and I'll keep you guys updated. Alright guys, so by now I've had the kit on the car for about 3 or 4 days, and so far so good. I don't get any oil smell like I was getting before, and part of the reason was, as you guys saw, my cap was kind of leaking a little bit, and the other reason was that I hadn't positioned the line down correctly to the bottom of the car, so all of those vapors that were coming out of the crankcase we're actually just coming right back up the engine bay. I repositioned the lines a little bit better for this situation, and now I can't smell anything. This kit honestly couldn't have come at a better time for me, considering that my PCV basically shit itself. But finally all of this is resolved. So anyway, I do want to give Vader Solutions and Omar specifically a huge shout out for hooking me up with this kit. I'm glad I was able to document this for you guys, and I know a lot of you guys ordered this. I know that he was, you know, pretty stressed out because you guys have a lot of questions, and hopefully I can answer most of those questions on this video. Of course guys, if you have any more questions, let me know. Omar and I have been talking back and forth pretty extensively about this kit, questions and issues and anything that may come up. I should be able to have the answers to, and if not, I mean, you can of course always reach out to him. Hopefully, like I said, this video answers all of your questions. Anyway guys, if you like what you saw, go ahead and click like, go ahead and subscribe. I have way more videos coming. The pipeline is pretty full. I'm not stopping anytime now, and this is one of the most highly anticipated videos as far as modifications that have come out for the B58, specifically the Gen 1 B58, because of the PCV issues that seem to be arising and seem to be more and more common. But hopefully this kit, we can mitigate all of that. And hopefully with this video, you can install your kit successfully and properly. Anyway guys, talk to you later. Peace.